Welcome to the Enlighten Up podcast, where I am going to take you into a deep exploration of what it means to exist in this current reality. We are going to raise your vibes, open your mind, expand your heart, and dive deep into the wondrous mysteries and possibilities of this lifetime. There's been a spiritual catalyst that has set in motion the awakening process of many across the globe to return to the knowingness of self and unite what has been separated. Together, we're going to bring light into that darkness. We're going to remember the joy of living. But most of all, we're going to turn up the volume of our own eternal power and do the thing we're here to do. Welcome back, everyone, to the Enlighten Up podcast. I hope you're having a great day because today is the first day of the year of the fire horse. And of course, what initiated it was our solar eclipse in Aquarius earlier today. This is a turning point. This is marking a shift in energy that is really going to determine whether you are going to resist the change that was asked of you in 2025 and end up creating a lot of unwanted circumstances, heightened chaos, and more issues, or if you did what the year 2025 asked of you, then you are prepared for the year of the fire horse, where your new identity will be accelerated for you to say yes to new opportunities, aligned growth, and dreams coming true at levels you didn't even know were possible. We have a lot coming up for this year, and today we have literally crossed over into a threshold because we have crossed into over a threshold of accelerated change that you can't predict. Let me say this very, very clearly. If you are hoping to find some comfort in things balancing out, evening out, being, of some sort of predictable nature, you are going to be sadly disappointed and in for a ride that probably isn't going to bring a lot of joy into your life. I don't say that to worry you. I don't say that to freak you out. I say that because it's where we are being asked to shift into. And that is finding comfort in the discomfort of not knowing what is ahead. Because the levels of changes and the acceleration we are entering into is extremely dynamic. And if you have been working through the identity deaths that I've talked about now on 2 different videos. I talked last night on All Signs, and I talked last Friday on my video about the blessing of Jupiter that never was. Not to say that Jupiter doesn't bring blessings, because it does, but because of its big long square to Chiron and Aries last year, of why it felt like life was just pressing down on you, okay, kicking you when you were down, pouring salt on wounds, potentially any wound life could find. Because that's how 2025 felt like to me, especially in the last half. And today I'm going to go into the solar eclipse energies that have opened the gateway for the next 2 years, the fire horse energies that just initiated today and for the next 365 days, as well as I'm going to share my own vulnerability, my own personal experience with going through one of the most intense ego deaths and identity crises I've ever experienced. And I've experienced a couple. I'm going to share with you so that you understand that it doesn't matter where you are on your journey, how far advanced you think you are, how much you think you've gone through, how much healing you think you've been through or done or achieved, how much money you have in the bank, how big your business might be, how well promoted you are in your career. No one escapes this. Okay? So I just want to put out a warning to all of you who are listening live, especially, but if you're listening on the podcast later, after the recording is released, I just want to give you a warning towards self, and I'm going to speak very plainly. So you're kind of going to get a little bit of a throwback to 2018, 2019, 2020 version of Nicole, who is way more, what's the right word? I don't even know what the right word is, to be quite honest. It's the same and it's different. Okay. So anyways, let's kind of jump into it. So you've all got the warnings. If you got kids around, put your headphones in, listen to this at a different time. And if not, full rein, blast it, turn the volume up, because we're going to get very real here. So let's jump into the Aquarius eclipse first, okay? Because this eclipse is very important. First of all, we haven't had a North Node Aquarius eclipse since 2008, 2009, okay? But we haven't had an Aquarius eclipse ever with Pluto in this sign, which of course didn't happen since the 1800s. Okay, so this is a big deal. So this Aquarius eclipse is letting you know that innovation is absolutely necessary. Aquarius is all about reinvention, breaking free of old systems, right? Progression. It's about individualization, so you don't get lost in the whole pack. Like, yes, it is about groups and society and humanity as a collective, but it's also about going to the beat of your own drum, right? Knowing that you can help society without losing yourself. And so when we have this eclipse in Aquarius, it is very future oriented. Okay. It's about the long-term vision. It's looking to advance you to new heights, new levels. And there's going to be something very specific about this particular eclipse, because it is the last one where we're going to have, which is modernly ruled. Aquarius is modernly ruled by Uranus. And I think it's important to include both the modern and traditional ruler, because I know a lot of astrologers like to just focus more on traditional, and I think it's important to do that. But the reality is we have discovered Uranus, and it governs Aquarius. We must include it in the equation. And so right now Uranus is in Taurus, which means this eclipse is asking for your future to be reoriented towards likely changed values, new sense of self-worth, money as your own particular mirror, how you use your own resources, okay, and creating new systems around all of that, because Aquarius is all about systems. Now, this is about aligning your new self with a future vision. Again, individuation is very important here. Breaking free from those old systems and the old versions of you, okay? And the systems that operated that self, that version of you. And it's bringing in unpredictable change, as I mentioned before. Unpredictable change is literally a guarantee that is going to also take you through the underworld. And the reason being is because Pluto is now in the sign of Aquarius, adding its own flavor. So Pluto is the shaman. It is the walker of the underworld, taking you into the depths of your own darkness so that you can go and have your death and then reborn through the other side. And this is very much what we've been all kind of going through. I've been just talking to so many people around me, my friends, and then also you guys in the audience reaching out to me, my clients. There are so many people who have felt the pressure of change bearing down. And anytime you're trying to create a solution, use what has worked in the past only to discover nothing is working anymore. And it's because Aquarius is asking us, Pluto in Aquarius is asking us to completely allow the old systems to die so new systems can come and bring us forward. And so this is also important with this particular eclipse today. This is a North Node eclipse, meaning it's pushing us out of our comfort zone. Okay, it's taking us into the place where we are not used to, we are not familiar with. So it's likely a place that we resist. However, the North Node is still in Pisces. And the North Node in Pisces met up with Venus at the very moment of this eclipse, meaning Venus, which again rules your values, your desires, it is saying, hey, it's time to align new values, new desires with the growth. It's time to reevaluate. Okay, what do you truly value now? Who are you today? What are those values, and have they changed from the old version of you, especially if you've gone through this identity death, which I'm sure so many of you have either gone through or currently going through or are on the precipice of going through. And it's really important to understand that Uranus is still in Venus's home, Taurus, meaning it's taking all of its instructions from Venus in Pisces, which again is the sign of endings, right? It's the womb. It's where everything, the seeds are planted before initiation happens. And so this is where you've got to really get honest with yourself about who you are, what you value, what no longer works, what needs to change, and what absolutely now has to be non-negotiable for your circumstances to no longer stay where they are. Because 2025, it was like a magnifying glass of imaginable proportions was put over your circumstances, the really hard, challenging circumstances, and blew it up into so that you would feel like, oh my God, why is it just getting worse? Why is it so intense? Why does every time I try to solve this, it only gets worse? Right? And so let me know, for those of you in the live chat too, if you've been feeling this. Hello, Dennis. Hello, Melanie. Hello, Heart Medicine. So good to see you. Because right now, one of your main resources that you should be utilizing for shifting your circumstances, changing your reality, reorienting to a future that does not look like your current reality, is using networks and connections to advance your destiny. Why? Because Aquarius is the sign of own. In fact, if you try to DIY yourself into a new reality of this proportion with the fire horse year that is pouring accelerant onto everything that you are right now, and you are not the version that needs to, the version that knows how, okay, to operate at the level that your next level requires, not wants, requires, then that energy is going to feel undirected, scattered. It's going to feel chaotic. It's going to set things on fire that you didn't want it to set on fire. Okay. And the reason why I'm saying this is align yourself with people who already have been where you are currently going. Okay. There's always someone who's ahead of you somewhere. And this is where you have to get very humble with yourself and make sure your ego does not get in the way to try to convince you that you got this, you can figure this out yourself. I promise you, and when I go into this later in the episode of what I faced, this is something that was a very harsh reality for me, who has 30 years of spiritual practice and 30 years of personal healing under my belt. And I was like, shit, this is so different than anything else I've faced before. This is no joke. And the reason is because time is accelerating everything for us. The change that is coming in is going to be like whiplash for us. And we can't navigate it from the old ways. So when we look at this Aquarius eclipse, we also have to look at the traditional ruler, Saturn, okay? And Saturn is currently in Aries at the 0 degrees, about to conjunct Neptune this Friday, all right, on the 20th. And Aries, Saturn is like, remember, Saturn is the leader. Saturn is the operator. And so when it moves into Aries, which is all about identity, it is saying that you need new structure around your new identity to initiate something new, because Saturn is at the 0 degrees. And what do we know about the 0 degrees? It is the point of a quantum leap, right? When you 0 point something, that's when you quantum leap into a new reality, a new timeline, a new identity. And so with it conjunct Neptune as well, this is also tied to very Neptunian energy, which is all about limitless, not having boundaries, not feeling restricted, right? So taking the maturation of Saturn, that yes, it wants structure, but it wants the structure to make sure that you break through the ceiling of your current identity so you can become the identity that doesn't operate below that ceiling, but lives above, has that 40,000 foot view, okay, of your future. And this is about becoming the fucking leader of your reality from this new identity that is innovating your entire life. So your identity is the structure. And this new identity should feel limitless to you. It should feel like when you're in this identity, you should feel like anything is fucking possible. There is nothing you can't do. And that should be stretching you way beyond anything that you ever thought you could do. It has to be relative to the old identity. And this is something that last year I really started to initiate. I was like, all right, what's this new version of me? I can feel it coming in. God's showing me a vision. God's showing me a vision in my meditations. It's coming in spurts and downloads on my walks, when I'm running, and I'm at the gym, when I'm talking to my girlfriends. It's coming in and it's so fucking big. It's almost like I don't even know how I'm supposed to get there. I don't even know if it's possible, how it's possible. But I get excited about it. And so I was like, all right, that's what I'm calling in. Well, here's where everything goes to shit. In order for that level of expansion that each and every one of you has likely been tapping into, being called to align yourself with, that level of expansion cannot be accessed with the identity that currently is held. And the reason being is because it holds its own limitations, its own rules of engagement that keep you exactly where you are. And that's why the year of the fire horse starting right now is so important, because we just went through the wood snake for a very important reason. Hello, Michelle. Good to see you. And Robert, hello from Canada. And at New, good to see you. Look, this fire horse year, it's exciting. It brings quantum leaping to the forefront of your reality, like nothing we've ever seen. Okay, unless you were born, before 1966, the last time of the fire horse. But I mean, you would likely not have wanted to be one or two to really know how to capitalize on it. But look, it's going to accelerate everything, good and bad. The fire horse doesn't care about good or bad. It's neutral. It's there just to add fuel to whatever you are showing up as. So if you went through the wood snake year, okay, and you went through this identity death, which you're likely still feeling. Okay, I'm still feeling it. I finally had my fucking breakthrough literally 7 days ago. Okay, 7 days ago. And I mean, it was hedging. It was coming in. It kind of started to poke its head. And I had seen it a little, but I didn't fully claim it until 7 days ago. But that doesn't mean that I'm not being tested. That doesn't mean that it's like my reality saying, are you sure? Are you sure? And it's important because it's conditioning me, and it's going to condition you to make sure you are saying yes to the new identity, because we are all being asked big things of ourselves. No matter where you are in your life path and your journey, you are being asked of big things. And that means you have to become a very mature version of yourself that is operating from a level of mastery that the old identity doesn't even know how to access, doesn't even know that exists. Because the fire horse, in order for you to succeed and reap the rewards that the fire horse can bring, is you need to be able to make bold, decisive action. You have to be so clear and so decisive so that when opportunities come in, you can say yes. You're ready to take risks. You're ready to go big when it's asked of you. Again, caveat, not recklessly, but knowing it's time to go bigger than you've ever gone before. And that comes from the preparation of the wood snake. Because fire horse is not interested in your hope. Fire horse is not interested in your chaos, or if you have no plan, great. It's going to add fuel to the no plan, and it's going to make sure that everything just starts blowing up like little hedgehogs jumping out of the ground. And you're like going to have to put out that fire and put out that fire. And it's just like there's no containment. And you have got to have containment during this year of the fire horse, okay? Otherwise, you will have a fire that just burns rapidly and wildly in a direction that is not the one you chose, or at least the new identity. So why did we just have the wood snake? Very, very important. This wasn't random. Nothing, of course, is random. I know you and my audience all know that, okay? Because the wood snake, as much as it was about shedding layers, it wasn't just about shedding layers. Wood, earth element is always about growth. It's about expansion. It's about the 3D reality. And so that expansion of the wood snake was saying, hey, what is it that you really want? Where is it that you want to grow into? What are you wanting to say yes to that isn't in your reality yet? But inside your heart, your soul, your destiny that is speaking to you says, this is it. And the wood snake says, okay. And how are you going to hold it once it comes in? Because calling something in and then knowing how to hold it are two very different things. Okay? I experienced this. My 2025 was an experience of whiplash. Whiplash was the best word I can use for 2025, emotionally, experientially, like everything. And it's like I had these high moments, and then it was almost like things just left, and it was like, what is going on? And I was like, this doesn't usually happen. And it was because I had been entered into an initiation, which many of you were entered into an initiation saying, okay, you want XYZ that you have never even come close to calling into your life before, holding at that level, then you need an identity that has a level of mastery so far above where you've been operating from. And that is something that humbled the fuck out of me last year and into this year, because I had to shed layers and layers. But what I thought I was capable of was realizing, I haven't actually trained for this level of expansion. I actually decided in 2025 that I was going to go so much fucking bigger than I've ever allowed myself to think or dream. And there was, I don't want to say it's the consequence, but it's the reality that I had to face, that so much of me and how I operate in this reality had to change in order to call that in and hold it. And so this wood snake year that we just closed out today, okay, had you shedding layers and layers around what you're used to manifesting and holding. So I want you guys to think about it like this way, okay? This is what this new identity is really about. It's like your skin on your body, right? We think about the skin of the snake, but let's just think about a sausage for a second, okay? So think about a sausage and its casing, and you've got this sausage and you've got all this stuff inside of it and you tie it up and whatever. Now you have your sausage. Well, if you start saying, well, hey, I want this and I want that, guess what starts to happen? There's no room for it to come into. And what starts happening if you try to stuff more into that sausage casing that has nowhere to go? It starts ripping. And so then now you're leaking energy, you're leaking opportunity, you're leaking money, you're leaking love, everything's just leaking. And it's not being contained. You're not holding it, right? And so it feels, and that casing starts to feel tight and it starts to feel restricted and you feel like you can't breathe. And it's just like, oh my God, it's just so much pressure. And it's like, how do I relieve the pressure? Oh, I just let go of what I just called in. So, okay, it feels better. Okay, I'm back to what I'm used to, and there you go. This is what the wood snake was all about, saying, hey, it's time you have a whole new casing, a whole new skin, one that's way bigger, one that's way stronger, one that's more flexible, one that's more adaptable. And that's what we've been building through the shedding of the layers and creating this new identity. You have to know that through the fire horse energy, okay, in order to channel fire horse effectively, meaning not have it work against you, which would be burnout, okay? Creating fires in your life where you don't want them. You cannot chase in the energy of the fire horse. Okay. You'll burn out. And burnout is something that I had to really get honest about last year, because the new level of identity that I was calling in would never, ever be able to be existent with the way I was operating before. I was willing to work myself to the bone, burn out. All my systems were designed for fucking burnout. I was always working from my masculine fucking energy. I was working in a system that it was designed for men. Like it was just not conducive to how I am going to expand and grow. And so I kept like, okay, well, what if I do this? And what if I do that? And no. And it just wasn't working. And it wasn't not working to punish me. It wasn't working to say, this is not the fucking way anymore. Stop banging your head against this wall. It's not moving. And this is where a lot of you have found yourself, where you keep banging your head against a wall that is not going to move anymore. Doesn't matter how much force, how much pressure you apply. It's not the wall you're meant to go through. And so you have to literally, in order to have the fire horse energy work for you, not against you, you have to become the outcome via a new identity. And that's how the desired outcomes that you want for yourself are going to be able to align to you. Now, why is this? Identity-based change is 3 times more successful than goal-based change. They've studied this. They've seen this. It's scientifically proven through numerous studies where if someone has a goal, okay, and let's just say the goal is I want to lose 30 pounds this year, okay? That requires you to do that via sheer motivation from the identity that gained the weight. But if you decide to lose the weight via a new identity, so change your identity, you are now no longer needing the motivation. You are making change based off of a new identity that operates differently, has different beliefs, views itself differently, and change starts to happen more organically. This is why identity-based change is 3 times more successful than just having some fucking goals for yourself. So, what you're going to need for this fire horse year is you're going to need direction. You're going to need an unwavering plan that is executed by the new identity, which your wood snake year has been preparing for you. The old identity will not be able to work with this energy positively. It just won't. You're just going to manifest more of everything that you don't want. All of the shit circumstances that you've been trying to solve, trying to fix, it's all just going to keep recycling itself. And so fire horse, the fire horse is known for being seen. This is where you're going to increase your visibility this year. This is where you need to be more social. Horses are very social. This is where you need to move fast, but not reckless. Fast, but not reckless. There are distinctions between those two. Make sure you understand that. You're going to have to move boldly. The fire horse wants you to say yes to the right aligned opportunities. And this is where you're going to need to really take some big swings in your life. Like when the pitch comes your way and you're standing at bat, you might need to take some really fucking big swings because there might be some home runs available for you. And that means some risks. But how you manage those is through precision, which comes from your plan, which comes from your new identity. Okay? And to be fucking honest with yourself. Horses are super fucking intuitive, right? Like, have you ever been around a horse and it's just like, yeah, like it doesn't, like, it knows when something's off. It knows when things aren't right. It knows when danger's around. So you have got to be very honest with yourself about what's aligned and what is danger for your upcoming year. Okay. And start protecting the fuck out of your new desired reality through your new identity. So this element is going to bring speed, but the problem is that it doesn't necessarily give you direction. So that's going to come from your new identity. Your new identity is meant to meant to guide it, direct it, put up the necessary boundaries and guardrails and protections so that you don't go off into different places and scatter your energy unnecessarily into old places, old ways, that it stays very aligned. Okay, you need to protect that direction. And so one of the things that, this year I was guided, to release a very specific reading. I've never done this before. This is going to be for a limited time, but I want to help you. This has been like one of the most difficult, last 6 months were one of the most difficult 6 months I've ever been through. And I saw shit that I thought I was done with. It took me into places that I was fucking in fear. Okay. And it forced me to strip me down, strip my old identity away, and start to get very honest about what doesn't work anymore, what I keep trying to make work and just won't work, and what I started to do that actually fucking worked and fast. Okay. And so as I started to work through this energy and I started to see, oh fuck, this is what it's going to take. This is what I want to help you guys with. So I've got a new reading. I'm leaving the link down below. And this can be one of the ways that you make sure that your fire horse year has the direction, has the right identity matched in. It's called the Fire Horse Identity Acceleration Reading. Okay. And that's where we're going to find out what is this new identity. We're going to break it all down to the beliefs, the actions, the energy, everything that need to happen, all of the old identities, behaviors that have to go, you can no longer say yes to. They are non-negotiable. Okay. So that you can start acting as if method acting your new fucking identity. And I'm telling you, the change that came through when I fucking started stepping into this identity and living as it, I'll tell you one thing. This is something you guys can use. Okay. Use this while you go through the change, because life is going to push you. It's going to make sure, are you sure? Are you sure this is the new identity? Are you sure you're operating from the right one? Don't you want to go back to the old? It's easy. You know it. It's just so easy. And this is what I would say to myself. Every time life gut punched me, kicked me when I was down, poured salt on my fucking wounds that were wide open, I said, my circumstances do not fucking matter. The only thing that matters is my state of being. And I would say that over and over to myself. I would remind myself, my circumstances do not fucking matter. I would not allow the reverberations of the old reality, the old identity that still was echoing in my field, to have any sort of impact, any sort of influence on where I chose to take myself. New identity, new fucking beliefs, new fucking power, new fucking rules. And this is so important, okay? So this is very, very important. So let's go into the identity death not being fucking optional this year, because I mean, it wasn't optional last year. I'm sure a lot of you have gone through it. Let me know too in the live chat for you guys watching. If you currently are going through that identity death, because this is something that, like I said before, your identity is going to guarantee you success 3 times more likely than if you just have a bunch of fucking goals. Okay. And let's just kind of prove it for a second. Okay. Let's just prove it. So everyone who's listening right now, a promotion. Okay. You've wanted a promotion. You believe that you deserve it. You know, I want you to say the goal of, I want a promotion in 3 months. And really feel that in your body. I want a promotion in 3 months. Now say, I am already promoted. I am promoted to a level higher than I was expecting or anticipating. When you actually take on the identity of that version of you who got the promotion already, not waiting for it still, it has a little bit of a different energy inside. So again, like, let's use the weight loss, okay? So let's just say you were wanting to lose X amount of weight. Let's just throw like, I don't know, 20 pounds out there for, it was definitely it's one of my goals for this year, like, but not, I didn't set that as a goal. I set it from the identity, and big difference. And so instead of saying, I want to lose 20 pounds, I can say, I am the healthiest, fittest version of myself that lost 20 pounds without struggle. And one of the things that I had to do, like at the beginning of this year, that I found was so interesting, and actually, no, I'm going to go into that in a second, because 2025 was literally my personal hell. Again, I had some really good highs in 2025. It wasn't all fucking hell. There were definitely some incredible highs and achievements, things that I was very proud of myself for, things that I was very grateful for. Thank God I had them, because I don't know if I'd still be here today doing this podcast with you guys if I didn't have them. That's how bad things got for me in 2025. They were bad. I was like in the depths, in the sewage of my own like pathetic victimhood that didn't understand why shit was going sideways, why life was turning upside down so fucking fast too, by the way. 1 minute it was working, the next minute it wasn't, and then it never did again. So one of the reasons is because, like I said earlier, I was calling in a level of expansion that was so fucking big, it scared me. Like, it made me uncomfortable. Like, so fucking uncomfortable. Almost like who am I to think I can even do that? What are people gonna think of me if I actually have that, or I do that, achieve it? Like, it really was like so fucking big, right? And I just thought, okay, Nicole, you're going fucking big. And I'll tell you, my mushroom journeys were showing me everything. They were getting me prepared. But my mushroom journeys did not warn me about the side effects of going that big, that fast. And I'm not saying this to warn you to slow down. No, if you feel it in your bones that that's where you're supposed to be, know that you can handle it. Know that God has a plan for you. Know that you are ready. You're just going to have to fucking bear down, grit your teeth, and get through it. So the old me would never have been able to create what God was showing me in my visions, through my mushroom journeys, in my meditations. Like I said, downloads when I was walking, what I knew in my bones I was capable of, right? But I kept defaulting to thinking, oh, if I just put a little more effort behind my old ways, if I just pushed a little bit harder, maybe I could stop some of the fucking bleeding that was happening, because I felt like, I don't know, the universe came and fucking stabbed me 1,000 times all over my body. I was just bleeding out everywhere. Okay. And I'm like, I got to stop the bleeding somehow. Like something like, let me just, okay, maybe I just go back to this, try this thing. Like it used to work. And literally no, nothing fucking worked. I was bleeding out and I was certain like at some point I was just going to die. Like there's nothing to stop this. I don't know how. I don't know what to fucking do. Like, it's like you get to this point where you feel so fucking lost. You feel so incompetent. Okay. And you start to question everything you know about yourself. But fucking good. This is where now I can go back in time and revisit myself and say, congratulations. You're doing it. You should be questioning everything you know about yourself, because you're so much more. And everything that you've known about yourself has been keeping you exactly where you've been and not allowing you to break through the ceiling that God is showing you you're ready for. Okay, so I realized I had to become an completely expanded version of myself that was willing to let go of the old me who had no idea how to get to that next level. And even worse, had no idea how to even sustain it if I did. There's nothing worse than getting there and then losing it all, right? That's like lottery winners. Lottery winners. Winning the lottery and then losing it all in a couple of years and being flat broke again and maybe even worse off than you were before. It's a story of like 80% of all lottery winners. And it's because they don't have the identity that knows how to hold that much money. They don't know what to do with it. Fucking identity feels uncomfortable. So all it knows to do is just, well, spend it on shit. Spend it on shit you don't need. Spend it on shit that's not going to invest in your future. The ego will come in and say, oh, you've been living like paycheck to paycheck. And so like, have fun, like bless yourself, like live a little. And then one thing leads to another and the ego just, don't worry, you'll stop at some point. And then next thing you know, your fucking fortune's gone. And it's because they don't have the identity that knows how to hold that kind of expansion, that kind of abundance. Same for someone who maybe is chronically ill all the time. That identity doesn't know how to hold health and maybe not feel guilty about it. Doesn't know how to like relate to people in the world when they're healthy. Doesn't like the way people relate to them when they're healthy. Okay, doesn't know how to hold that identity. There's a lot of different things that the ego will fuck with your head. Okay? Fuck with your head to get you back to the old version. So in order to get to this expanded version of myself, and when I say get to it, I mean have it revealed to me, because I didn't know exactly what it was. I had to go through the craziest identity ego death that humbled me to levels I have never visited in my entire life. But I will tell you this, listen very, very closely. if you are there, if you are being humbled, if you are being stripped down in ways that you've never been stripped down before, know that you are on the verge of a quantum leap. You are on the precipice. Do not give up. Do not go back to the old ways. Do not give in to allowing the current reality to be your proof of what you're of the fact that you can't create what it is that you're calling in. Because the level of humbling that I had to go through literally took me to a place, I'll be very honest with you. As someone who has naturally always had people gravitate to, since I was a kid, always had people gravitate towards me, opened up, shared their wounds, their vulnerability, asking me questions, asking me for advice. This was just something that people naturally did to me. I don't know. It's in my DNA. It's part of my design to be able to see patterns and give direction. I can see it really clearly for other people. And that's been one of my gifts my whole life. It's what I'm designed for. And so I always been the one helping people out of dark places. Always, when I say this, I don't truly identify with this, but I'm going to say it because this is where I had to be humbled. In a way, being other people's savior, okay? Like saving people from themselves, their circumstances, whatever. Deep down, I know it was them doing the work, but here's why I'm saying it that way. The last 6 months have required me to have someone save me. And I've never been there before. Never in the 48 fucking years that I've been alive. I've always gotten myself out of shit, and I fucking prided myself on the fact that I knew how to take care of all my shit, get myself out of any situation that I didn't want to be in. But this one, I couldn't do it alone. This one was too big. The inner demons were too compelling, too forceful, too strong for the old version of me. I wasn't built in a way to handle that yet. And so I had to be okay and not feel the guilt, which I'm still dealing with. It's not fully let go of having someone take on the burden of me. And that is my worst fucking nightmare. Worst fucking nightmare. And I'm sure there's those of you in the audience who really fucking relate to that, because I know I've got some type A people who are total doers. You've done it all yourself, and this was a fucking humbling moment for me. And so this really stripped me down in ways I had never been stripped down before. Things where, I thought some of my worst pains were feeling so betrayed and cheated on and sexual abuse from when I was a fucking kid, I thought that was my fucking darkest moment. And I had fucking made it past it. Nope. Nope. This almost broke me. The dark thoughts that would flood my mind, that were of course coming from a place that really wasn't me, right? But it's I had to really lean on a couple of people in particular in ways that I had to be so fucking raw, expose my deepest vulnerabilities, my deepest insecurities, and say, here it is. look at how fucking bad I'm failing. But here's the fucking beauty of it all. I was forced to be so fucking honest and really focus on what truly lights me up. Where is my value? And when I mean my value, I mean like, where do I shine right now? Where is it that I want to shine? And I realized that there were parts of me that I was done with. I had lived them. And I'm like, I had become them. I had succeeded at them, but they no longer brought me the fulfillment and the inspiration and the creative flow. Like, I just lost my edge. I lost my, I don't know, like that X factor of life, you know, that gives you, that pushes you into the places that, you know, like you want to go, but like there's fear there, but you still want to go. There's excitement, right? And so I really had to look at, okay, the way I used to work in my job, in my career, in my business, I can't work like that anymore because it keeps fucking burning me out. I end up being depleted. It's not fucking sustainable, especially for the fucking levels I was calling in. In fact, literally almost impossible by design so that I would stop operating that way. And from this idea that if you don't work hard and if you don't fucking push yourself and if you don't show that you're a fucking muscling through it and you can like survive anything, you can do it all, like pile it on life, I'll fucking push through. No, fucking done. Done. There has to be a better fucking way, right? And so I had to really question one, how I was working and what I really wanted from my work. Like, why am I doing this? So I was going through this existential crisis because as someone who, and a lot of people relate to this, I'm certainly not the only one, but like I've identified heavily through my career and my business and my service, what I offer the world. And so realizing something's changing. And I don't know exactly how. So I was like, okay, let me just get really clear about what I fucking love. And I was like, well, I fucking love doing ceremony. I'm fucking great at it. And I only keep getting better with every ceremony that I lead. It lights me up. It inspires me. The change that my clients get through ceremony, whether it's plant medicine or not, is changing people's fucking lives rapidly. And not only is it changing their lives, it's opening things up in me that I didn't even know I was capable of. So ceremony 100% needs to be on the fucking table. That is not changing. I want to do more and more fucking ceremony, right? I love working with my clients one-to-one. And I love the depth. I love to go deep with my clients, to get into the weeds with them, to really go to the raw places and start to get that change at the levels that they've never experienced before. And I can't do that when I'm just working at surface levels. I can't do that if I'm working with massive groups. So I started to realize, okay, I've got to work, you know, more one-to-one or in small groups, right? Like that's where I actually excel. I don't burn out and I really love it. And just realizing, you know, like, well, I still love my podcast, but something's got to change in the podcast. And I'm realizing I've got to start bringing in a new caliber of guests because I need to be pushed myself. I want the conversations to go deeper. I want them to go into places that are making my mind open up, you know? And recently I've had some guests on in the last 6 months that have done that for me. And I'm like, ooh, and that's part of, I started to call in these guests. They just started finding me. I didn't have to reach out. I didn't have to look for them. They somehow found me. And I'm like, okay, some of them I was like, oh, right. So it's me starting to own the identity of that podcast host who's interviewing that kind of caliber of guest, right? And so I started to realize, all right, that means I have to start cutting out certain things in my business. I have to start saying, I can't do that anymore. That's not where I thrive. That is a service or a product that I created from an old identity. It's just not who I am anymore. It doesn't mean it doesn't have value, but I just don't want to like be there anymore. Right? So I ended up closing out my alchemy group last summer because although like, it killed me to say goodbye to the people that were in there because they become like family. But I realized like it's depleting me. It's coming from an old identity that I am no longer, right? And so one of the other things that I was also facing in the midst of having one of the most difficult identity crisis, deaths, humbling moments of my life, and when I say moment, I mean months, is that I was also going through it while in fucking perimenopause. Oh my God. Like, I now have a whole new respect for my mom when she was raising us all through this time. And I'm like, oh, this poor woman, how she dealt with 4 kids and my dad going through all of these hormonal shifts. And it's funny because the changes for me started almost about 3 years ago. And I started to, one of the first things I noticed was I'm gaining weight, right? And anything that I used to do in the past did not fucking work. Wasn't working. And, I kind of was like, okay, well, it's not me. I'm just in perimenopause. So, like, what can I do? It's just part of the transition. And I kind of gave into this victim of perimenopause kind of attitude of just letting myself gain more and more weight. I started actually working out less than I ever did. And I convinced myself, well, my body needs more rest, which it did. It did need more rest, but it didn't mean I had to stop working out. I had to change the way I worked out. And so at the beginning of this year, I said, that's fucking it. I'm like, whoa, I'm over 20 pounds heavier than I was when I was at my like normal weight that I was maintaining for years and years and years. And I'm like, this is blowing my mind out of the water. And I'm like, how did I fucking allow myself to get here? And then I was like, okay, look, I'm not going to fucking starve myself. I'm not going to push myself into exhaustion, because I know those things are not the way to go. So I said, okay, who is the identity that fucking is healthy, fitter than I've ever been, and has balanced hormones? Okay. And so lo and behold, I was like, okay, I'm going to change. I'm going to focus only on strength training with 1 HIIT workout a week. And instead of running, as much as it pained me to let go of fucking running, I knew I had to because it was spiking my cortisol levels. And I'm like, this is not the version of me that's going to get there. It's not about pushing, but it's about being strong, stable, and unwavering. And so I'm like, I'm going to get into walks. So I started doing like 4-mile walks a couple times a week. And I hadn't changed my diet yet, but all of a sudden my body composition started to change. Scale didn't move too much, but body composition changed. And I'm like, well, there it is. There's some of the fucking change. And then I was like, well, what if I actually started to eat healthier, right? Because I was like, I'm starting to feel myself, well, I want to eat healthier because I was identifying with a healthier version of myself. And I'm like, you know what? I'm fucking done with this stuff. And I started like just shifting very minor things in my diet, still eating like to the point of feeling very satiated. I never felt like I was not allowing myself to eat something. And literally as soon as I did that, the pounds just started falling off. And I'm like, oh my God, this is actually easy. And I actually enjoy this new version of how I'm operating way more than I did in the past. And so not only did this version of me like actually agree with my new reality more, but it made things way more efficient. So one of the things that I had to do, and I want to make this very important, like very important distinction. Whoever you are meant to become right now, the new identity that is emerging within you, from you, that God is saying is required for your next level of mastery, non-negotiable, is required. You are going to have to do things at levels that you've never had to do before. Things that you thought, well, I'm already past that, right? I'm going to tell you the state that I was in was I was facing panic attacks. Like I don't usually ever have a panic. I think the first panic attack I ever had was like in 2020, I think. And of course, that's when the world was going through a massive change. And that's when all of our fucking nervous systems got a trauma induction. Okay. That where all of us were being rewired in different ways. But then like never again until last fall. And I started having panic attacks, waking up in the middle of the night, needing Ian to just hold me and tell me how to breathe because I couldn't get control. I couldn't get control of my fucking body, my breathing. I was like spiraling. My mind was just going to the darkest places of like fear. My anxiety levels were constant. Like I was always battling like anxiety and waking up in the middle of the night, never getting a full night's sleep, let alone maybe even a couple hours. Okay. All of this, of course, happening during perimenopause when all of that stuff is even heightened even more. I felt doomed. I felt like there was no way out. I always felt like I was underwater. I was crying all the time. My mind was unfocused. My fucking thinking was so foggy like never before. My self-esteem plummeted to levels that were like, I don't even recognize myself. I'm like, who am I right now? Okay. I felt incompetent. I felt useless. I felt like a fucking failure on so many levels that I've never felt that it was even possible for me to fail at. Never before had I met this version of myself because it was the most stripped down, raw version of saying, hey, all of this shit that you've been kind of masking or thinking like building up this reality to kind of maybe say, yeah, that's not me. No. We're stripping it all away so that you can really see what's still there and what will not be allowed to come with you into that next reality. So I was forced, okay? I was forced to make unrelenting changes to my identity that required a diligence at levels I had never applied before. Meaning, I'm going to tell you guys, not only did I have to start performing vagus nerve resets, not once, not twice, but throughout the fucking day to get my body into a place where it was constantly feeling safe because everything in my life was triggering me to not feel safe. You're not safe. You're not safe. This, whatever it was. Okay. And I'm just like, fuck this. I know how this works. If I don't feel safe inside, then my reality is going to continue to show me shit that is proving that I am not safe, right? So I'm like, I cannot outsource my own inner security and safety. So I'm like, I have to create it. And so vagus nerve resets throughout the day, breath work, meditation that was calm and relaxing, which was something I had kind of moved away from because I started using more excited meditations, things that get me amped, which I still use, but I'm realizing, whoa, I can only use that when I've got the body in that safe zone. I have to actually regulate first before I can go into that expanded, amplified state where I start getting excited about what I'm being shown and pretending, acting as if it's already happening and I'm there, right? And so I created two subconscious reprogramming recordings of myself around, I don't know, one is 8 minutes and the other one is, I think, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes. So I put one that was very calming to like vagus nerve reset music that is my whole new identity. I named my identity. I came up with all the new things, my beliefs, how I act, how I take action, how I move, everything in it. And I listen to it at night now, as I'm going to sleep. I listen to it when I'm wanting to be more calm, when I'm wanting to reset my body. Then I have my amplified one that I'll play when I'm at the gym and I'm on the treadmill and I'm playing it over and over and over and over while I'm walking, when I'm walking Addie out for our walks, when I'm wanting to be in the sunshine, when I'm driving. I fucking hack the shit out of this reality in levels that I'm like, I have to be so fucking persistent, so fucking diligent. I'm in my body. I'm doing yoga again at levels that I hadn't done it in a long time, because I'm like, I have to be in my body. I have to trust my body. I'm constantly talking to my body like, hey, I know this expansion feels fucking uncomfortable because you're not used to it. You don't know how to hold this, but we're going to fucking do it, because whatever bullshit you think is safe, we're not dealing with that anymore. Okay. Like there's so many things that I have had to do. And I will say, if you guys want the actual amplified recording, okay, that's in my Unfuckable Yes course, which is on my homepage of my website. And that you can listen to, and you can actually, not only can you listen to it, you can get ideas of what you need to create for yourself, okay, to start tapping into the new identity, okay, of who that future version of you is. But I thought I was beyond this level of diligence. I'm also fucking journaling. I'm journaling every morning. And you know what I had to do? And this is going to become extremely, this was actually one of the game changers for me, which kind of blows my mind, because I was like, I'm so beyond journaling. I don't need to fucking journal anymore. Like that's my ego. My ego kept fucking coming in. Every time I was like, well, maybe I should fucking journal again. Oh, you don't fucking need to journal. You're so fucking beyond that, Nicole. Oh, fuck. I needed to fucking journal. But I needed to journal differently. And what I started doing was every morning, once I reset my vagus nerve, once I did my breath work, once I did my meditation, okay, I then open my journal and I'm like, today's date. What were all my wins yesterday? And I start writing down all of the fucking wins. And I fucking made sure I found every potential win that was proving that I am winning at life right now, that I am changing my reality, that I am holding the new identity that wins at fucking life, because that's part of my new identity. Okay? So I wrote down everything from the day before. Then I go in and I write down today's wins. And of course it's in the morning, so I don't know all of my wins for the day yet, but I know what I want to win at. So I write down all the ones that I know have happened up until that point, and then I start writing down all the ones I'm calling in, the ones I expect to happen, the ones that in my identity knows are already a guarantee. And as I write them down, I then write all the proof in my reality, the evidence. And I'm going to go into why this is important for you guys. This is very, very important for you to understand this. Okay, this is something your ego will not be able to get around, and I'll go into it in a second. But then the next day comes, and guess what? Now I can write down my full list of all my wins from the day before. And guess what? Some of the ones that I didn't know had happened, but I had called in, started to already manifest. And some that were even bigger than what I was expecting. And this started happening instantly. And it was forcing me to have my reticular activating system, okay, the part of our brain that is constantly looking for evidence in our reality to prove our current identity is right. So that is also something else that I had to change. I had to change a lot of things. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I had to really get honest with myself about the fact that even though I've been through so much, what I am facing, I have never faced before. And I have got to use every fucking tool in my toolbox. and then amplify it with an energy and a diligence and a perseverance, especially with the new identity backing it, okay, than ever before. So this is where I no longer chose to engage with my past and only engaged as my new identity. I only engaged with my reality as my new identity. And this is where like a major shift happened recently, where I really had this lightning bolt moment, which is very Uranus, which is very Aquarian. Okay, lightning bolt moment. So expect that to happen. Although know that it's going to happen when you least expect it. Because I started reprioritizing my daily activities to align with my new identity. I stopped pushing them off saying, oh, I'll do that, even though I know it's aligned with my dreams and what I want for myself. No. All of that must be coming to the forefront, and all the old stuff needs to go away. And so I started acting differently. Not for motivation, but from who I was. My identity wanted to make different choices than my old one. So I didn't have to really think about it too much, right? I didn't have to convince myself. I already was that person. I already am that person, right? So I forced myself to stop looking at the evidence in my life that nothing was changing and only started to look for the evidence that proved my life was changing. I stopped looking for the evidence that I was a failure, and I only started to look at evidence that said I'm a winner. So example, when I decided I'm no longer identifying as being in perimenopause, that doesn't mean I don't say, like, I know that my body isn't like going through changes. It is. It's going through changes. But I'm not going to have that be my fucking identity. My identity is the woman who is hormonally balanced, which found a solution for that hormonally as well. You know, that I was like, oh, that's going to help balance my estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone all in one. Great. And that came to me. The universe put it right in front of my fucking face. I didn't even have to look for it. My new identity called it right the fuck in. All of these, like, I've been like, oh, should I go here? Should I do this? What should I do? And boom, it was right there. Solution. Boom. This is what you do. I was like, oh, okay. Easy. Right? So your brain, I want you guys to remember this, rewind this, write it down, do whatever you need to do right now. Your brain builds your new identity through repeated evidence. Okay? It will automate your new identity's behaviors based off of who you are. So, because I forced myself to look for evidence of the new me, shit started to happen and change. I had an encounter. I haven't talked about this on my channel or my podcast, but a few weeks ago, this actually happened the week before I did my journey. I took Becoming the Medicine, the first journey with the no medicine, but getting you into that medicine state where your body's having those physiological changes and your literal identity starts to change, which is wonder why that's so important and powerful. But I was driving along one morning back from the gym, driving along a highway, 2 lanes going northbound. On the other side was southbound. And I felt good. I had just had a great workout. I had just had coffee with a friend who I love dearly. Music was like getting me, I was in my happy place. And then boom, out of fucking nowhere, a coyote decides to run across the highway. And I didn't see it until it was already in the middle. And as soon as I saw it, I realized, holy shit, there is nothing I can do to avoid this coyote. If I try to go right, I'm going to go right into the traffic beside me. And if I go left, I'm going to flip my car into the ditch. And I'm like, I cannot do anything. And I just held there, and I literally felt like it was weird. It was like everything paused and went into slow motion. And I ended up colliding with this coyote, collided right with the passenger front corner of my car. And I've never in my life hit anything that big before. And it was just like this, like, what the fuck? And I'm just like, it was one of those things where, okay, in the moment I had enough. This was probably one of my first moments where I realized I have to like be careful about how I allow this circumstance, this event to take me out of my current identity. And so I felt obviously horrible for the coyote because it did not survive. My car sustained some damage, but all things considered, not too bad. But I had to like, it shook me. It shook me all day. And I'm like, oh my God, it's totally taking me off kilter. It's like consuming me. I felt so guilty for the coyote. I had to go in. I did all these blessings for it. I gave gratitude for its life. I honored its life. But also knowing that there was nothing I could do, right? But this encounter I had with the coyote, when I went deeper with it, I was like, okay, the meaning of the coyote, right? The coyote spirit animal like symbolizes adaptability, transformation. And of course, it's known as the trickster, the sacred trickster archetype. And so it was kind of representing this need for humor, for playfulness and intelligence when navigating life's unpredictable challenges. So the coyote often appears on your path, whether like literally like it did for mine, or in your dreams or in your meditations, whatever, during times of change, during times where you need to be taught a lesson about resilience, around uncovering hidden truths and finding balance through cleverness rather than force. And I had to really like understand in that moment, which was the beginning of the solidifying of this new identity, of realizing I'm going to look for all the reasons to be grateful for this moment, and while still honoring the coyote, right? And I'm like, I'm not going to allow this circumstance to derail my new identity. I'm not going to like go back to the old ways. And so the fastest way for you guys, okay, to change your reality, to quantum leap, because remember, this year of the fire horse is going to guarantee you quantum leaps if you are fucking aligned with this new identity and operating from it, okay, giving yourself direction, have the clarity, the focus, protecting your energy so it doesn't go scattered and all over the place. And the fastest way that you change your reality is through creating a new identity, creating that new self-concept, right? And taking action from that new identity with behaviors that continue to build that identity in your own brain, okay? Because you will not see change this year if you still operate from the identity that holds the same old standards, the same rules of engagement, the same habits, the same beliefs, hang around the same people that maybe deplete you, don't really add anything to your life, usually actually ask for more of you. Okay? The version of you that still avoids shit, hesitates, procrastinates, deprioritizes the things you know you should be doing to get the change that you want. This is where being comfortable is no longer an option for you this year. The new normal is you have to begin to learn how being uncomfortable is part of your new identity. Okay? Until that new identity fits you like a fucking glove. Until that identity fits you like a fucking glove, you will continue to be uncomfortable and you will keep being uncomfortable, knowing that it means you're changing, knowing that it means you are not acquiescing to the past, to the undesired reality that you're desperately trying to get yourself out of. So your new identity, this is the equation. Your new identity will drive new behaviors just from like owning the new identity, which will then drive new results in your reality, which means evidence. And what does the brain love for building that new identity into stronger structure? Evidence. So it sees more evidence, and so the new identity gets stronger, and then it drives more of those new behaviors, creating more results, more evidence. This is how you are going to quantum leap. But understand that from a society that has been conditioned, we have been conditioned into instant gratification. Know that whatever this next level is not going to be fucking easy for you. It's not going to happen overnight. Yes, you can start to see results and evidence overnight, but you will not see the full fucking shift overnight. You're going to have to get really good and really masterful at applying your diligence, your perseverance into that new identity, and making sure even more that you protect it from the old identity wanting to step in and intervene and say, hey, no, see this shit that just happened in your life? This little echo? This reverberation from the past? Still here. Pay it no heed. It's only there temporarily. It's already on its way out. You have got to fucking own this new identity with 100% non-negotiability. Okay? Your key is going to be consistency, but if you fuck up and you slip up momentarily, know that it's likely going to happen. It happened to me. Do not give up. It's where you have to look at the system and say, okay, I slipped up a little bit here, but just recalibrate. I make adjustments, and I note it as a blip on the radar that I just needed to course correct and move on and keep going. Do not allow yourself to think, oh, because I slipped up and now I'm falling back and no, that this happened, and then it starts to spiral and whatever. Do not let it spiral. Catch it in the moment. Bring that new identity back in, and be compassionate with yourself. In the beginning, it's going to be the hardest. Okay? Just keep at it. Some days are going to feel stronger than others. And be on the fucking lookout, okay, for your ego to convince you for all the reasons why you shouldn't act accordingly to your new identity. And I'll tell you the ways it was showing up for me, and maybe it's showing up for you. It's too hard. It's not meant to be hard for me anymore. I've already gone through these level ups. I've already fucking done the work. I'm past this. I don't need to fucking journal. Like literally, that is where I was. My ego came in and was fucking like making sure, no, don't do that, because that's gonna fucking change shit. And I had to be fucking humble. So know that it can step in. Your ego can come in and be like, it shouldn't be this hard, right? When you're advancing to these new levels, that's where it's supposed to get easier. Everything's supposed to be in the flow. Bullshit. Bull fucking shit. You want to go to levels you've never been to? You're going to have to go through shit you've never been through. You're going to have to try harder than you've ever tried before. But that doesn't mean that you try harder in the ways that you've always efforted. You're doing it in new ways. You're coming at it from new energy. The old way of me wanted to just perform and look like I was doing a great job. Now I don't fucking care how I look. Does it feel good? Am I joyful? Is it making me happy? Is it making me feel fueled? Alive? All right. It may be taking some effort from me, but it's coming from the right place. The ego can also say, I'm beyond the basics, right? I'm beyond the yoga and the breath work and the vagus nerve resets and whatever else, the mindset work, the subconscious reprogramming, the, learning from other people, like I need to not like let other people's ideas get into my mind. Like, trust me, this is where you fucking need mentors. You need advisors. You need teachers. You need coaches. You need that kind of person in your life. I most certainly do. I'm starting to reach out to people that I'm looking at. You're where I want to be. You're doing things at a level that I want to, but I have no fucking clue how I'm supposed to be there, what it's going to take. Stripped down Nicole, very humble Nicole, has come to that realization. So I'm like, okay, there are certain things I know very well, but there are certain things I don't know. And when you start to realize that you don't know what you don't know, it's really important to go to the places where that wisdom and that knowledge and that know-how actually lies. Okay? So do not think that you can do this alone, because I'll tell you, there's no way I could have done this alone. I've needed to call in support, hire support, like it's been so humbling of what I've realizing. No, I cannot DIY this one because I need a fucking plan. My new identity needs a fucking plan. And this is what I'm going to say to you guys. You need a fucking plan that comes from the new identity, not the old one. Do not even start making a new plan until you know what your new identity is. And this is one of the things, like I'm going to say this right now. If you know right now in your bones, in your heart, in your soul, okay, at your core, that you are fucking done wasting any more time and you want to make this shift, the 3-day 180 retreat that is in 10 days from now will guarantee you get a head start on your 2026 identity change and shift into that new level, that next level that requires so much fucking more from you. And not only will you start to build that new identity, but you will start to become it. You will get some of the frameworks, some of the necessary steps that you have to take, the decisions you have to make, already starting right there for you. That is the beauty of the 3-day 180. It is not like anything else that I do. And I cannot, there's only so much words can do, like only those who've been really know. Okay. But if you have felt like you just haven't been able to break through a plateau that you have felt stuck in, that no matter what you do, you still don't get ahead, that you can't break through that ceiling, the 3-day 180 retreat does that time and time again. Okay. That'll give you your head start. If the retreat is not something that's maybe it's not something that is available to you right now, whether it's timing, money, readiness, whatever it is. Okay. Because we do use plant medicine there. The fire horse reading is something that I'm making available so that pretty much any of you can get reoriented, get your direction, know what your guardrails are supposed to be, know what you have to say no to, know what you have to say yes to, really get clarity on what that identity is, and really take a look ahead at this year of what your identity needs to be in order to create the evidence over and over in your reality, so that builds and builds behaviors, all of that kind of stuff. That is also available to you. And then I also want to say, Becoming the Medicine, I've just reopened spots. We're going to kick things off for a new round, March 11th. So if this one too is where you really learn the beauty. And this is why this one's actually really special. I mean, they're all special, but what I love about this one is that not only are you utilizing your human technology, your skin suit, to get into states, altered states that are usually only created through psychedelics, you are going to learn how to create it yourself and use it as one of your tools and your weapons against your old reality. Your new identity is going to start using that medicine frequency to hold the expansion and keep you in that state. So you remember that state of being, because your circumstances don't fucking matter. Your state of being matters. And that's how you shift things. All right. And that's what we create through the 8 weeks of becoming the medicine. You get 2 guided journeys plus all of the really deep breakdown work, the work that we do in between, teaching you how to go into full surrender that the plant medicine uses to override your body, your mind, everything, how to create that surrender through your own physiology. Okay. How to drop all resistance, how to turn your fears into allies. So things aren't working against you, they're working with you. And then also how to use the body itself, how to immerse yourself into the state, okay, through the journey process, so that literally you start creating physiological effects that start rewiring you at the level that a plant medicine journey would, which means you're starting to quantum leap, okay, the identity shift way faster. Really important. And that is something I use as well. I've been using the medicine frequency as well in my day-to-day. So this is a big year. This is a big year. Look, last year I said it on the 2025 predictions, expect the change. And you didn't have to be fucking psychic to know that. Okay? You didn't. Because looking at the astrology, we could see that every outer planet was changing signs, which we have not had in a very, very, very long time. Okay? Which meant all of us were going through change. What I think we may have underestimated, I myself underestimated, was how powerful that change would be and what it would be requiring of us to let go of in order to become that change. And there is a grieving process that must happen because I was so attached to that old version of me. Man, I'd given her so many accolades, so many flowers, and it's not that she didn't deserve it. She totally did. But she could only get so far. And my journey is, I don't even feel like I'm at the halfway point of my journey in this lifetime. Okay? I got way more to go. So I'm like, thank you for getting me this far, but it's time that we part ways. I have to call in the next identity. And there are just parts of you that cannot come. There are parts of her that I really loved, and I incorporated those into the new identity, right? But a lot of it had to go. I had no idea how fucking limiting that identity was for me until I started operating from the new one. And then when flashes of the old one, she'd start to come in. You know, and the anxiety, because the anxiety still comes in. The fears still pop in. But now I know how to work with it. Now, and I'm just diligent. You know, I'm like, okay, this is what we got to do. This is our system. This is how we operate now. And just realizing, wow, you had such good intentions. Oh, she had such good intentions. But she had no fucking clue how to get there, okay? And they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And lo, she took me to hell. She took me to hell, but that is where I found my personal heaven as well, right? My personal heaven was found in a new identity. And so I had to let that go and really open myself up to what I'm truly being, like I'm designed for, what God is asking of me, what my creator is showing me is next. And that's one of the most, here, let me say this. One of the last lines that I have in my 2 subconscious reprogramming things that I listen to in my own voice, put to music. One's an amplified one. One's a really calming vagus nerve resetting one. And what I do for that one is I use crackling fire and thunderstorm all in one. Cause that's for me, that's my favorite. So the last line is, and I love that my creator is always showing me my next steps. My new identity doesn't believe she knows what's next. She knows the creator, her maker, knows what's next. And that's her CEO. That's who's guiding her. And so I'm like, you show me what you want me to do. You tell me the words you want me to speak. And it's really allowed me to call in a much more authentic, empowered version of myself without having to try to figure it all out. Because again, we're heading into a reality now, not just this year, but in years to come. With Pluto being in Aquarius, the chain, and especially with Uranus going into Gemini for the next 7 years, the drastic change that we are going to be undergoing is going to be so fucking unpredictable. To think I know what's next, I don't. I have a little couple clues of like where I know I need to say yes, but I don't exactly know where those yeses are taking me. I just know I'm supposed to say yes to them because of the alignment and what I'm being shown and how it feels in my body. Because I'm getting so good at like the alignment of this new identity and what feels good in my body. So this is like so important too, of like really calling in that power. So make sure, guys, that going into this year, if you don't have a plan yet, get that fucking plan in motion. Okay. But don't make the plan from the old identity. I know so many of you have been going through this identity death, have been feeling like your life is falling apart, that everything that used to work no longer fucking works. And that no matter how hard you try, it just keeps failing. Until you shift the identity. And as soon as you shift the identity, you will start to see the evidence coming in from that new behavior that has no ties to your past, only your future. And that's what I love to do. And that's what I do with all of my work, is that I'm no longer really looking at your past. It's not that the past won't be important at some point, but we're more concerned about future, right? Because spending too much time in the past only ensures that more past shows up, more past recreated. We're not interested in that anymore. Okay. And most of you, you've done a lot of fucking healing work. You've revisited the past. It's not like I'm talking to the newbies out there who've never fucking visited their past, have no idea what an inner child is. Okay. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying all that stuff isn't important. It's the foundational work. But at some point you realize I'm spending too much fucking time here and I don't even know what my future is anymore. What is it that I even fucking want? Right? So this is the work that really starts to move mountains in your life. And this is where the invitations lie to all of the aligned opportunities of the dreams and what you're destined for, okay, are waiting for you. So really starting to orient yourself to that future, that new identity, and then method acting, taking on that new identity, now, not waiting, now acting as if, and really allowing that to build and to start showing you the proof. And at first you're going to have to really look for the proof. You're going to have to close out all the other shit of evidence that's showing you the past. Like, it's really a fucking choice of where you're choosing to put your energy and focus, right? Basic shit, we all know it. But when we get into these places where we're being taken into the depths of our own personal hell, levels that we've never seen before, all of the basic shit seems to leave us, and the foundational work that is so important, we seem to forget about it. And it's so important to call it back in. Okay? So I'm going to say this one more time. Firehorse Identity Accelerator reading. In the link below, this is where we'll get your plan in order. Okay. You don't know how to get that plan. You don't know what the identity is. I will help you get you there in 1 hour. All right. If you want change immediately, you're not ready. You don't want to wait until the spring, summer. You want change now. You want your life to fucking start shifting now. The 3-day 180 retreat is what we do. That's what we do there. Okay. So if you're ready, do not also let your ego tell you that it's too late to join. Every retreat I've ever had, I have someone join last minute. And every person who's joined the retreat last minute has had a quantum leap, a Kundalini awakening, and has had their mind blown open to what is possible. They've literally gone through ceilings that they were stuck at for years, and some people decades. So do not let your ego tell you, it's too late. I don't know if I can make it work. Will I get time off work? I don't know. Who's going to watch the kids? Should I be spending that much on myself? All the things that your ego may want to tell you right now of why you can't is the old identity. What does the new identity want to say to you? For some of you, there are other things that have been on your bucket list that are on your thing that you're haven't been saying yes to. Start saying yes to them. This is where you have to take big risks. You will be rewarded for bold, decisive, fast moves. Hit and swing bigger than you're used to. The way you ensure that they're not reckless, that you're not creating fires in areas of your life that you don't want to, meaning you're not channeling the energy in a place where it's transforming your life, right? But starting to just burn shit up that you don't want to happen, is you need to have a plan. You need decisiveness. You need clarity. You need to know the boundaries, the guardrails, the structures that you need in place to ensure that past does not come in and start taking your energy and flooding it into all the places that it doesn't need to go. All of the places that take you back to 2025 energy. No one wants that. Okay? And remember this, as I sign off on this note, if you are here, do not beat yourself up. Congratulate yourself. Congratulate yourself. Because this is one of the hardest places to get to. The identity death is one of the hardest things to go through, especially if you've mastered a lot of shit already. Okay? If you've been super aware, if you've been through this process before, you're now hitting a new level. And it doesn't matter if you are hugely in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, or you've got incredible investments and you've got a cushioned bank account and money constantly flowing in. Trust me, if your relationships are fucking on fire and blowing up in front of your life, or you've got the best friends and family relationship, it's happening to anyone, everyone, at different ways in their life, okay? It might be more health focused. It might be more money focused. It might be more career focused. It may be more self-worth focused. It might be maybe purpose driven, okay? It could be so many different areas. Do not think that you are anything less than anyone else in this world, because This is the process of the identity death, to humble the fuck out of you no matter what you have or don't have right now. So, share this episode with many others. This is one of my most important episodes I've ever done. I can't express enough how valuable this one will be. You will want to come back and listen to this one, especially if you're currently in the thick of it. Okay. Or if you're on the precipice, bookmark this one, save it somehow, put it in your notes. I don't know. Remember the number. You are going to want to listen to this one over and over again. Okay. Because this is what's going to help you gain the momentum the fire horse can bring to your life in the ways that actually bring you opportunities, okay, that accelerate your growth and expansion versus constrict and bring you back to where you don't want to be. The place that you're trying to get yourself out of. So, I love you guys. I just want to say, CB's daughter, hello. Thank you, New, for all of your support here in the live chat. Guys, I love you. I'm going to jump off so I can upload this to the podcast. Have an incredible week. And do know that I am... there's a new energy here. So expect to see me on YouTube a little more often, maybe with a different energy, but I feel like it's a better energy. Some of you may not like it. That's okay. Not for you, but it's who I am. It's how I'm going to show up. I feel the creative juices flowing again, which I'm very excited about. And so now it's like it's feeling effortless. Now it doesn't feel like a chore. Now it doesn't feel like an obligation, right? It's because this new identity, it's just like creativity just flows from her. It's like she's so fucking aligned with her creator and letting that creator just fuel her, feed her, show her. Okay. And I'm just going to follow. I'm going to be guided. So I love you guys. Have an incredible week. And I'll talk to you guys all really soon.